Good afternoon, Black women. I wanted to come and speak to you guys about moral politics and how I don't want y'all to get lost, okay, in what is going on in this country with channels like Divested Zealot and other people who are, you know how Black people do on this platform, social media platform. Anybody they like, they follow blindly, believe everything they say as if they don't have a brain to think for themselves. And I swear to God, I believe that whole panel is a deep fake because everything that they promote over there is so anti-white. I'm sorry, anti-black and pro-white. It doesn't make any sense. So I just finished watching, what was the name of that news channel I was watching? It was the Young Turks again, right? And they were talking about how, you know it to be true. So you have the November election coming up. So now you have everybody coming out trying to make it seem like their party is the best when it actually, I keep telling y'all, it has nothing to do with the actual parties. It has to do with the individuals who come together to destroy and stop bills from being passed and to kill laws that already exist. So, case in point, when they were discussing the part of the federal spending bill, right? And that's the kind of stuff that deals with the child tax credit, your income tax credit being increased, having more credits and more exemptions given to the everyday worker. All right, and also how much more money they can add to your take-home pay versus your end-of-the-year refund. So while they were voting on this, now you got to remember, this is not about party, right? And this is the thing that I don't like about divestors, and specifically someone as ignorant and somebody as hateful towards Black women as Divested Zealot and that whole ignorant crew over there that seem to have, that's why I say they're not Black, and they're white people playing with AI and deep fake. Because what kind of Black woman are you that is so sick in the fucking head that everything you talk about, every live you do, is dehumanizing Black women for them getting killed by Black femicide, and you clearly have a problem with Black males? It's just a weird dynamic. It is very KKK orientated. And I know there are sick Black people out here, but I don't think there's no Black people that's sick. That's why I know it's got to be deep fake, because it doesn't make sense. But the fact that so many Black women follow behind these fucking nuts on here, like they're Jesus Christ or some type of cult of personality, is scary. It's fucking scary, and y'all need to stop doing that. Because you don't know how many times I watch like different people's channels, small YouTubers, and they're talking some crazy shit that was mentioned over there on Divested Zealot's channel, because they mentioned it, and it's like, what? Why the fuck are y'all following her? She's clearly a fucking loser in life. Like, seriously. You got all that happiness. You with a supposed white man when I don't even think you really exist. You some type of AI deep fake creation. And it's like, you so happy in life, but yet you so miserable in everything that comes out of your fucking mouth to try to make Black women stupid and vote Republican against their best interests. So let me get back to what I was saying. So in the matter of everybody who's in the House, because y'all need to know how everything works in this country. It's not about what Democrats do singly and what Republicans do singularly. It is what they do collectively that does or does not benefit us. So when they're voting for the federal spending bills, right, every one of them has to cast an independent vote, if you did not know that. So every single person that voted to stop all of the positive federal spending was a Republican, trying to stop Social Security, trying to stop unemployment, trying to stop different retirement programs, trying to make things private when they don't need to be private, cutting social services, trying to constantly create this narrative of people who receive food stamps are lazy and just want something for nothing. That is the stupidest shit in the world, because I don't know if y'all realize, but people have to fucking qualify for food stamps. They have to qualify for Medicaid. They have to qualify for financial services. Meaning, you don't just walk in there and go, oh, let me get some welfare and a side of food stamps to go. It's not how it fucking works. So there is a guideline. HRA follows, because I literally work for HRA, right? There's a guideline they follow. And if you make a certain amount of money, you don't even qualify for it. That is why we have so many working poor. So when you hear idiots like these Republicans talking about people are lazy and they just want to sit home and get something for nothing, most times the maximum payout for food stamps for a single person that's old is less than a fucking $100. Please understand that. So when they put together this new program where they're trying to make everybody work for receiving like the minimum of fucking things from the government, which is a basic right. You have a right to fucking food. Food stamps, they're giving people less than $100. And these are old people. People who are on a fixed income. Most times most people over 50 already have some type of debilitating disease or autoimmune disease or genetic condition. Like, what the fuck is wrong with everybody? But this just goes to show that they're so out of touch with the everyday person, because the everyday person is not in touch with their rights and the fact that the people themselves are a fourth government that have the right to disband and call out the other three if they don't benefit the general public anymore. And that's something y'all need to read up on, and you need to enforce your rights. Because whenever the other three branches of government are not working properly to serve the people, which is the fourth and the most mightiest level of government, has the right to call for the tearing down of the other three until they serve the people the way they were created to do. And believe me, I keep trying to run this home for y'all because y'all need to understand this. It is not about individual parties. It is about how members of each fucking party vote on issues that literally affect you every day of your life. But when you are listening to like completely malicious, robotic AI pretending to be black women characters on faceless motherfuckers on a YouTube channel telling you to get out of the black community, get a white man, do this, do that, everything anti-black, you have to stop to think for a while. Something's not right, because it is screaming it's not right. But when you want to have all this maliciousness in you and have an issue with being pro-black and doing the right thing, and before you idiots start talking about what do I mean by pro-black, let me explain what I mean, because y'all have a problem with not understanding what people actually say. I am about women. I'm pro-black for black women. Anything positive and for black women, that's what I'm here for. I'm not here for arguing and everyday bashing black dudes. If I had it my way, all black women would not even deal with black dudes, and that would be not be a topic of conversation for us. We just would completely separate ourselves from them. They would go their way and we go our way with our children. So be clear on that, because I had to fucking block and what do you call that? Just get rid of so many people on my last couple of videos because they came over here trolling, playing stupid. Like, if I tell you what I'm saying, don't read into it. Just take it literally for word. So to get back to this, y'all gotta stop listening to them stupid bitches over there. You really do. Because first of all, they're not real. Second of all, they're there to help you vote for the Republican Party so that you lose rights. If you really have an issue with what I'm saying and you have not been paying attention to real life, you are really a dumb person, because Republicans right now are trying to get past a bill where black people can never get reparations. They're also trying to pass a bill where we are not allowed to continue to have education. Like, they're thinking about trying to overturn the Brown versus the Board of Education. So you really need to think hard and pay attention to the proposed laws and bills, not laws, proposed bills in your fucking city and state. And you need to pay attention to how these people are voting on different items that come up during their voting period. Like, all you have to do for whatever state you live in is, like, I live in New York State, so I gotta go on to NewYorkSenate.gov or NewYorkAssembly.gov. Do the same shit where you live. Literally go into the website, find the bills that are up for voting, find the bills that have already been voted on. Look to see who voted for what, who voted against what. And this is how you gauge true information about which individual members from each party vote for the benefit of the people. Not some fictitious, completely insane AI black woman, no-face channel telling you all this crazy shit about how bad black people are, both men and women. And they always glorifying white people. When, if you know the true history of this world and this country, you know that regardless of the behaviors and fucked upness of black people, these white people in this country are the worst fucking villains of all time. And if you really don't know that, there's something wrong with you. They're the ones pulling all the strings to all this madness. They're the reason why right now New York City has an increased influx of people who are not citizens to cause all the upset and to kill the resources for poor people in this city, mostly black people, because they think in their sick minds that that's somehow going to make us die off, when it's not going to happen. But because they're so evil, so wicked, and hateful towards people, these are the things they do. But when you have AI individuals that are made for black caricatures, right? And you have all these really dumb black women following that shit, you get idiots who back people who want to see black people back in slavery or very close to the goddamn social behaviors of slavery. And they don't hide it. They tell you that shit to your face when they happen to be out here talking about, we want America to be great again. They're referring to whites on top and everybody dark and black being under some type of martial law, segregation, or Jim Crow. Like, why don't y'all understand that? If you would get rid of all those Republican people, whether you like Democrats or not, and make everybody of color a Democrat in a position of power, you would literally see this country change overnight. You would. Because you need money to spread out across this country. The reason people are poor is because the rent is too fucking high. If you get people in office to put a cap on rent, maybe people will begin to be able to make it. If you get people in office who increase the living wage for people to make a decent amount of money and not just let white people make all the money when they work, maybe things would change. If you put people in office that say, listen, we're going to have a quota where we have to have a certain level of police all the time and patrolling everybody's city regardless of where they live, people will be safe in their communities and things will change. You don't always need white motherfuckers as cops. There's a lot of Hispanic people out here, a lot of Asian people out here, and all in between that need jobs. Give them the job, stop being racist, because that's what they are, and racially prejudiced. Increase the fucking salary for cops, and just hold them literally accountable for killing people when they go on their personal racially prejudiced sprees, and you would have shit under control. Get rid of the state indemnification in New York so that when cops are out here fucking up people and killing them, they can't hide behind the protection of they're above the law. And if you do the same thing in every other state and people understand that, yeah, you're a cop, but when you step out of line and you just start killing people because you think you can, your ass is gonna go to jail too, you would have a better police force. But let all of them people over there on that deep fake channel tell it, you know, there's no way to resolve this. Black people are just so out of control and white people are so great. This goes to show you that those are not real black people. Do you understand what I'm saying? So please stop following these channels with all of these crazy fucking real black people and all of these no face having, deep fake AI and deep fake generated situations going on to lead your crazy self astray. Otherwise, you don't gotta listen to me or believe it. You gonna fucking live it and feel it. If you think after the shit you saw with DeSantis and how these people were moving and doing with the immigrants coming to the country, putting fucking buoys in the water to drown women, children, babies. This is what those white Republicans was doing. But then you have black women on here fixing their fucking mouth to tell black women to vote for Republicans, when these people were literally killing people because they didn't like what they were and what they looked like. I don't particularly care for Hispanics either, but I tell you one fucking thing, I would never do anything to be killing people just because I don't like them. They don't need my fucking permission or anybody else's to live. And when you co-sign the Republican Party, you are co-signing all types of hateful, you sanctioning all types of horrible, horrendous things against people based off of just what they are. Are you really that fucking sick in the head? Do you really not pay attention? And I don't know how many times I gotta bring this up. Like, oh my God. They don't want to deal with pedophilia because it's mostly white males that do that. If you look on, I gotta think, what was it, Fox, I think it was, they were talking about poverty today and how they're always blaming everything on the president and the Democrats. That's not the truth. If you actually do the research and find out, actually, even with the child care increase in the tax, poverty went down a little bit. It didn't ever go down drastically to the point where it made a real difference in people's lives, okay? So he put a Band-Aid on a major wound that needs a surgery, okay? He didn't really do that much. And if any of these people really wanted to deal with poverty in any part of this country or in the country period, they would just make this place really democratic, meaning whites wouldn't have everything and be entitled to everything and everybody else suffering. So until you have people that are actually talking that and doing that, they're all full of shit. But the way that you separate the ones that are a little bit worse than the others is how they vote for things that affect you every day. And you don't do that by blanketing a damn party the way they try to do, trying to make it seem like the Republican Party is the greatest, when you literally can point out things they have done throughout this year, the year before, and the year before, several years, of how they're actually trying to hurt black people and others. Because that shit where they put those buoys in the water to drown people was crazy, and they did kill people. And it took the federal government to tell them they better take that shit out the water. And even after the federal government told them they had to take it out of the water and gave them a deadline, they still was trying to go to court to try to get the right to keep those buoys in the water, even though they didn't have the right or the authority to put them in the water in the first place. The same way, if DeSantis would have had his way, most black people living in his state would have not had jobs. They probably would have not really had any place to stay anymore. And going to school would have been like how it was back in the 40s and 30s, where the black kids pretty much had to sit in back of the class, and they were taught how disgusting and how much of a stain they were to the human life. Y'all gotta stop playing. And when you don't really know the history, your history, since you want to be so whitewashed and you don't know the history of America, you need to stop believing shit that divestors say that are crazy as fuck, like Divested Zealots channel, and the fact that those are not real black people. I don't give a fuck what you say. No black person in their right mind could have that much hate for black women and men and still be a black person. There's something mentally fucking wrong with you. It's just crazy. And for y'all to follow her is even crazier. But this is what y'all do. Because when I tell y'all the same thing about Cynthia being problematic, Princella, and all the rest of them, that y'all have made these quote-unquote YouTube mega subscribed people, y'all need to stop that shit. But you know what? It has been my life experience that you could try to come on here and plead with black women to tell them the right thing, but they will not budge to save their life until they actually start seeing that the shit they believed in is actually fucking them up. And you ain't gonna have that much long to wait for it, because if you follow those divested women with voting for Republicans and all this crazy shit about dating white men, you're gonna suffer for it. Because I know none of you are really aware of the fact that, because I've been watching it, but I haven't really been talking about it, because I'm like, they want to die. White women have been gladly reporting on the fact that black women that go online and are dating white men and a lot of black men, unfortunately, they're ending up dead in their apartments. I mean, I don't know if y'all been paying attention to that shit, but I don't know if it's a serial killer or something that they just doing to do, because there's been a couple in New York. I was watching the news. I saw a couple more in Maryland, and there was some in California. So clearly that's not really a serial killer, because they ain't going to get around that much, right? But it is the mentality. It is the absorption of all this manosphere talking points and the promotion of black women hate that is causing these dudes on the internet, where these silly women are going to look for men when they need to just stay single and safe and free. They're going on there, getting these dudes and stupidly bringing these dudes into their homes, and these guys are killing them and leaving them in their apartments for people to find them in their homes. It happened in New York, California, Maryland, and Virginia. It's probably happened in more places than that, but those are the main ones that hit the news in 1 week alone. So y'all can keep listening to them divested bitches if you want to, them fucking deep fake AI motherfuckers over there telling you to go get a white man and all this bullshit, and all the rest of these black women telling you that. But listen to me for a change. Stop dating, period. Leave all these fucking men alone. Get your life together. Stay safe. I just put up a video the other day showing you that these dudes are still out, these black dudes are still out here promoting people to kill you. And they literally are. And y'all still don't want to get the message. I have one question. How many more black women are going to have to die for y'all to understand that you need to leave all these dudes alone for a very long while? Leave them all alone and make yourself safe, because they are literally killing y'all. So that's 8 women in 1 week that I'm aware of. Y'all need to think about that. Woo! And stop voting for Republicans, period. How many more DeSantis is and all the rest of them crazy white women Republicans do you need? Stop doing that. Stop. Because the more of them you put into power, the greater your ass comes into losing all your human rights and your civil rights. You'll be out in these streets back how it was in the 50s and 40s, with white people able to rape you, bash you in your head, and kill you, and they will not go to jail. Keep voting for them and find out. That phrase, fuck around and find out, y'all really will. These white people are devils, and you're letting you playing right into their hand.